Welcome to Pennsylvania in Focus. I'm Kristen Smith, Pennsylvania editor for the Center Square. And joining me today is the Center Square's Pennsylvania reporter, Anthony Hennon. Earlier this week, Governor Josh Shapiro said Pennsylvania will be getting $101 million to clean up and restore 16 abandoned mine sites across the state. Anthony, where is this money coming from, and where are some of these sites located?
Yeah, so the projects are getting bankrolled by the federal government through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And this covers basically a dozen counties across the Commonwealth. A couple of these awards are, about under $200,000, which generally means they're kind of fixing up some issues at mines that are already being remediated. But others, there's more money coming in here. And generally, when we're looking across the state, historically where we had coal mining. So up in the northeastern part of the state, western Pennsylvania, generally that's where we're looking here. The biggest award here is going into Tioga County in the northern tier, where the Susquehanna River Basin Commission is getting $68 million to build an acid mine drainage treatment plant to improve the Tioga Reservoir and about 20 miles of streams affected. And this acid mine remediation and drainage, this comes basically from when a mine shuts down, you still have, various reservoirs of water. This can leak into existing watersheds or streams. Basically, different chemicals coming either from the coal, coming from various chemicals or whatever is unearthed down in the mine, basically bleeding out and polluting various streams, rivers, lakes, what have you. And this can not only present a threat to animal, wildlife health, plant health, but also human health, depending on if it leaches into drinking water, et cetera, et cetera.
So when was the last time the federal government invested in mine cleanup? I realize that this is something that we've been dealing with for decades. And is it just a Pennsylvania thing, or are other states involved in this?
No, I mean, this is all over. When you look in the last decade, there's been a lot more federal involvement in funding dealing with acid mine drainage. In 2016, we saw $30 million each going to Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and West Virginia to deal with this stuff. And generally, since then, we've been seeing anywhere from $25 million to $30 million annually coming in to deal with that. 30 projects were funded in Pennsylvania in 2016 and 2017 alone. And I mean, you see this stretching from, my home state of Ohio. You can also see this out west, though that's that mining is a little newer than what we had seen. Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, Tennessee, I believe, also gets some of this funding. This is basically kind of cleaning up. Some mines have been shut down for decades, and then we've had the environmental effects or potential human health effects hitting since then. But we've seen more and more money coming as Congress has made this more of a priority to deal with. Sometimes this is kind of sold as an economic boost of cleaning up an area and basically rehabbing some land. In Kentucky, we've also seen some former mining land has been redeveloped and used as areas for elk to herd and roam and kind of grow that. Virginia, we've seen something similar to that. So sometimes this is kind of an economic angle. Other times it's a community development or environmental angle of, we have this destruction left over from past industry. Now's the time to come in and really address that and try to get it cleaned up. Even if it's not necessarily delivering big economic gains, basically making the quality of life better for the people still living there.
So what's next?
What is next? We're looking at more of these projects coming into the pipeline. We see a lot of this on the federal level, but we've seen some on the state level too. The DEP announced that it's also starting to accept bids for two other projects that are getting federally funded. One is in Indiana County, another's in Jefferson County. But a lot of this just comes down to where you can get the money from. Historically, we've seen some funding come in on the federal level, basically as a tax on operating mines. But the historical problem with that has been it's simply not enough to really generate a lot of revenue to come in and fix what's left behind after mining and industry shuts down. But we're seeing a bit more in various states of more funding coming in to deal with this.
Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Anthony Hennon, this is Kristen Smith. Please subscribe and thanks for listening.
Enjoying our podcast? Your reviews help other listeners find our show. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen.